So this spell, characterised in many ways by the Champions League, scoring the goal that got Spurs there and off on that adventure, and then ultimately scoring one, unfortunately, that didn't happen. But Harry, and this business about identifying how you play, playing maybe with a smaller striker, whether it's Jermaine Defoe or whoever, again, clear cut the way he wanted to use you, and that's something you revelled in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, again, I was thankful to Harry, obviously, for buying me, but then giving me the confidence to play. And like you say, it was we qualified for the Champions League, and that was a special night again. Up at the Etihad, scoring that goal, obviously in front of the away supporters, was a magical moment, and something that will live with me forever. And whenever I see Tottenham fans, they always thank me for scoring that goal, because it was a great moment, and it obviously went on for there to have a great adventure. And like you say about Harry, obviously he knows how to play me, he knows how to get the best out of me. And myself and Jermaine had a good partnership, but also he brought in Rafa van der Vaart, and we hit it off straight away.
Yeah, just coming back to Jermaine, I mean, it's fact that there are strikers and there are strikers. There are different things. He quite clearly is just somebody who has the instinct to get it on either of those feet and shoot. In a way, that probably takes you in a different direction as a striker, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've played with Jermaine probably under 18s, under 21s, and a full England squad at Portsmouth and at Tottenham as well. And I think our record together has been fantastic. We've both scored a lot of goals when we've played together, and it's worked very well. So Jermaine's a top player, and I do enjoy playing with him. And
would you set him up more than he set you up?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, Jermaine's the type of player that can put you in, but will put you wide, so you have to cross it back to him. He's a born goal scorer, and he's someone that you have to have that mentality of, he's selfish. Obviously, I think he'd be the first to tell you that. But we enjoy playing together, and he's a top player, and yeah, he's set me up for a few, but I'll probably set him up a few more times.
Tell us a bit more about Van der Vaart, because suddenly we had someone who was a little bit different. And this was probably a time when Modric arrives at some point as well at Spurs, but there weren't many players, and we haven't had many players like Van der Vaart traditionally in the Premier League. Now we do.
Yeah.
But how different was he?
Yeah, no, he was fantastic. And like you say, that Tottenham team we had at the time, with Modric, Bale was flying down the left. Aaron Lennon was incredible. Van der Vaart. There was times in training where I would remember Harry just sitting back and watching, just enjoying it, because it was incredible. But Van der Vaart was so clever. I mean, I remember the first day in training, there was a long ball into me, and I managed to knock it down. But he was so good at reading where I was going to put it, or even a couple of times he was making me look good because ones were coming off my shoulder, and he was getting on the end of it. He was just such a clever footballer, and I think he probably left Tottenham too soon, because he was a legend down there, and he was on the way to becoming a legend.
And the Champions League, it was an adventure, and it was amazing, characterised by the San Siro in so many ways as well. And those are memories that must stay with any Spurs fan, because it meant so much to them, and Bale and everything.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, obviously Bale introduced himself in that Champions League, but everyone, myself included, I absolutely loved it. It was we went in, I think because it was our first experience of the Champions League, people weren't expecting much, but we went in completely fearless. We were going into games away from home. We were 2-0 up against Bremen, and I think it was the first away game. We were battering teams at home, but unbelievably. Inter Milan was one at home where it could have been 4 or 5, which was just incredible, and obviously culminating in the game in San Siro, which was on a personal level another fantastic moment.
Now, tell us about the Harry way of doing things, because what's interesting here is that Harry was sort of stereotyped, if you will, old school or what have you. Yet you've described Tottenham Hotspur being able to more than compete with some of the better clubs in Europe. So was he done a disservice? Were you playing with the sophistication that was just born of buying the right players, or how did he coach it?
No, listen, I think Harry Redknapp's probably very underestimated. I think he knows how to get the best out of players. He buys sensibly. He bought some fantastic players, and he got the best out of Modric, Bale, Van der Vaart, myself. Ledley King wasn't even training. He was getting the best out of him. Michael Dawson, Tom Huddleston. Aaron Leonard, these are players, and we're all obviously good players, but he was allowing us to express ourselves, and I think that came through in the football. It was good attacking football. It was great to watch, and I think we could have got on and maybe done a bit more if someone hadn't stupidly got sent off.
It's Real Madrid we're talking about, isn't it? Yeah.
So.
How do you cope with something like that?
It was a low point. Obviously, coming off the back of such a high point, scoring a winner in San Siro to get us through. Just a rush of blood. And I think they were very clever in a way that obviously they in the Premier League. I don't think you would have seen so much rolling around, perhaps. But I think it's part and parcel of the game there, and it's seen as a win if you get someone sent off. And I was naive and stupid, and I made a mistake, and ultimately it cost us, I think.
Yeah, I was unfair. We skipped over scoring the winner at the San Siro. And one of the great venues and one of the great occasions, I'd imagine, in your career.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I had some friends in the crowd that day, like up in the gods. But like you say, I mean, that AC Milan team was a good team. I had Ibrahimovic, Pato. Obviously, there was some top players in there, and we went away to Milan and got a result and won and saw it through at the lane and went through. It was a fantastic achievement, and certainly up there for probably one of the best personal memories for me.
In a broad sense, did you ever, by this stage, you've played on the very best stage? We'll talk about England in a while, but you've played Champions League, you played at the very top level with some great players. Did you ever feel that you were constantly having to prove yourself? Were you still in any way typecast as a kind of player, or did you feel that you'd arrived?
Yeah, no. Even when I was playing at the top of my game, when I was at Liverpool, when I was at England, I always felt that I was a stopgap to someone better coming in. And I genuinely always felt that. When I was playing for England, I felt that I had to score in every game, otherwise I'd been replaced. And it was literally like, thankfully, I had a good record for England and I did do well. I had a good period of playing, but it always felt that I was the other option, and when people were fit, they would come in and replace me. And it did seem to happen. And it seemed to happen throughout my career, really. And I don't know whether that's just an opinion of maybe how I look. I maybe don't fit the mould of a top footballer. And but thankfully, I've managed to prove those critics wrong.
But even at Spurs, but surely by the time you're at Spurs and all that's going on, you got nothing left to prove, have you? Or did you still have that nagging doubt?
No, I think there's always a time. I think when you're playing at a top level, there's always that element of you're replaceable. And I didn't want to be replaceable. But yeah, it was a shame the way things worked out in the end at Tottenham, because I loved it there and it was fantastic and we had such great times there. But I knew the manager wanted to bring in Adebayor, and that meant me basically moving on. But the way it was done wasn't great. Considering that I felt that I'd done well for the club, and I was told that I wasn't going to get a squad number, and that was difficult to take, and told that I had to go, and that was that. And it was no fault of the manager. I think he would have liked to have kept me as well, but for whatever reason, obviously the owners wanted me out at that time, and Adebayor was coming in, so that was something that I had to do and I had to move on.
Okay, well, it was Stoke's gain, because there's still tons more to come. There's the best period as a club in top flight football in their history. There's the goal, surely, of your career. We'll get into England, robots, social media, loads more to come.
Crouch, what the effort! That is just sensational!
Can't practice that. I just tried to pop it up and volley it.
Peter Crouch has produced one of the goals of the season.
I'll be able to show the grandkids that one.